Hi guys, this is Debbie with Debbie J's Crafting Corner. I'm going to be doing a live card making video today, just using a design and a video that I had watched from Christina Werner recently. She did this really pretty and real simple. I mean, I was able to do it, and I'm not a watercolorist, but what she did was a panel that was covered with packages, gifts, and I thought that was just so pretty, and I went ahead and made it. And I thought that might be fun to go ahead and do with you guys, because I always say, if I can make it, you can too. So I figured this would be a great opportunity for you guys to try one of the ideas that I've recently tried out. So I'm going to go ahead and put the camera down, and we'll go ahead and get started. I can hit the right button. Okay, so first I'm going to go ahead and just tape down a watercolor panel. I think I'm going to use the rough side up just because I don't really know the difference yet, and I'm still learning when it comes to watercoloring. Let me go ahead and get out some purple tape, and I'll go ahead and tape that down. Now this is just a cutting board. I think I picked it up at Big Lots or something a while back. I've got a few different ones that I play with, and I don't want to waste any of the real estate on this piece of watercolor paper, so I am taping really close to the edge. Don't really know if that is a good idea. Bad idea? Oh, Elizabeth, you've got snow. Yeah, I'm in Florida, and today it was finally cold enough for us to. We had the windows open and the AC off in my bedroom last night, which is not the norm. We always have the AC on. And I woke up cold, so I took a nice hot shower this morning. Blew dry my hair when I'm usually wearing it in a ponytail. Hi, Karen. And then I've been in the house all day. My husband and his parents, because they're here for Thanksgiving, they're all outside while he plants some agaves and stuff. He's really into all of that planting stuff. So you've got rain until it snows tomorrow. And my husband won't let me go to New York ever. I told him I wanted to go to New York City at least once to be able to say that I did. And he went to college up at Cornell, so he never wants to go back up there ever. So the first step in that Christina Werner video, and I'll only refer to it a couple of times, but first thing that she said to do was to do like a light color over the entire back. So that's what I'm going to start off with. I've had some cheap Artist Loft brushes that I got from Michael's, and I decided to upgrade a little bit because last time I tried to do any kind of watercoloring, all of the bristles kept falling out and it was driving me crazy. So I'm not real familiar with these brushes. I have used a couple of them, but we are going to give it a shot and see if these are any good. This set actually only cost $10 for the set. There's 5 brushes, and I've got, like I said, I got this one also from Michael's. So everything I'm going to be using today, I pretty much got from Michael's. So the brushes, these are a couple of Artist Loft watercolor sets. I'm going to be using the matte fundamentals, and I'm going to also be using what's this pen called? This one is the Pearlescent. The Pearlescent is really pretty, but I think what I want to do is I want to have a matte background and have all the packages be more shiny. So I'm going to try that, and this, I'm not sure how this brush is going to do. I think I need to soak it in some water first before I do anything else. It just came out of the package. I've never used it before, and the tips are hard. I don't think that's going to really work too well when it comes to trying to get any paint down. And I do not know where I got this dual bend from. It was probably Hobby Lobby or something. Let me just go ahead and soak that a bit. I think what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to go with this color of like a blue-green. I did a light blue last time and you could barely see it, but the packages did pop, so that did work well. Yeah, Tiara, I love the pearlescents too, but I want to have a kind of a matte background first, because instead it kind of got all, I think that at the final one when I did it, you know, about a week ago, can't show you because I actually mailed it out to somebody immediately because I love that one. But because it was matte on the background and then pearlescent packages, I think it got that the background got a little bit lost and got mixed in with that pretty pearlescent packaging. Let's see, I think it's this one. And this is something else I'm learning. I've tried playing with these watercolors over the last couple of years. Yes, this package has barely been used, and I've actually had it for at least, I think I got it in 2017, to be honest. I never put enough water in there, so I didn't realize that I was doing it wrong, because I've never played with watercolors. Have you guys played with watercolors, and what kind of results have you gotten? Do you like how it is? Do you feel like you need more practice, or did you basically do like what I did and give up? This color seems to be going down pretty well, and because I wet the paper first, it is spreading around really well. First time I tried it, I basically just had blobs of color in places, and I didn't have any kind of control, and that's what I'm a kind of a control freak, I think, so it didn't really work as well as I would have liked. So I'm going to try to even out some of the color because I feel like it's pulling around. And of course, like normal on most cards that I do, I always wind up cutting it back anyways. The edges really don't matter all that much because they're not gonna be there. So you guys are just learning too. So I'm hoping that you followed my instructions on the Facebook post that I did and said, grab your stuff and let's play. If not, it's no big deal, but I would say, if you can, go ahead and grab your watercolor stuff and let's try to do this one together. And then I would love to see how yours turns out, and you can post it over on my Facebook group later on. I would love to see that. So you're doing watercolor pencil. It's another thing I need to work on too. Well, Susie, grab your supplies and let's get busy. Let's see what you can do. This turned out really, really easy and really nice. I really liked it. I'm also going to be using my Ranger heat tool to dry in between because I don't want to keep you guys here for the next 10 hours. We try to keep it down to about an hour or so, especially since the rest of the family want to come back into the house. When they're in the house, they get a little bit loud. We've got vaulted ceilings, so the noise carries over the entire thing. So I'm going to just try to dry that back a little bit. And what I noticed last time when I did this, I'm going to go ahead and share with you what I'm learning as I'm learning it. But last time I tried this, it seemed that although it was puffed up to begin with, like you can see it's a little bit warped there, as it dried, it flattened back out. It's posted in the Facebook group, TR. That's okay, hon. No worries. I would love for you guys to play with me, though, instead of it just being me sitting here. But we can do both ways. No worries. Usually when I'm watching Facebook Live, I'm just sitting there watching. Sometimes, especially when I first got started making cards, but sometimes I'll go ahead and pause the video that I'm looking at so I can try to recreate what they're doing. And it looks like on this side, I should have taped more than just that edge because it's already popping up. So that tells you that you probably need to not try to save as much real estate as what I tried to. The whole thing is popping up. I'm going to have to retape this down. Okay, get a paper towel to dry up that little bit of paint that is still there. And then I'm retaping this. But it did turn out pretty. And I'd also love to know, again, as usual, are you guys hearing me okay? On one of my recent videos, I think that the sound, my adjustments on the sound, because I've been playing with all of the settings on OBS wasn't quite what it needed to be because I was having trouble hearing myself compared to when I record audio for my voiceovers, and I'm using Power Director and basically having everything turned up to the max on both. Let's see if we can get this to stay down a little bit better. And that'll be kind of neat. It'll have this basically a little border around where I draw all of those little packages. That'll be kind of neat. Okay, that is pretty much flat, so I think that is pretty much dry. So the next step, as I mentioned, this is a design that I saw on Christina Werner's channel and her recommendations and all that. So I followed along with her as she did it, and I thought I'd share that with you guys too. Thank you both. Thank you, TR. Thanks, Susie, for letting me know. So what she said to do after you've got your base color down would be to just draw in some kind of wonky squares. That actually makes it easier for all of us because it doesn't matter what the shape of the squares are. It'll be kind of cool. So, and I'm going to try to do better than last time. You want to make sure that you draw it pretty light because you're going to be watercoloring over it, and I don't think that it really... Okay, so Elizabeth says that I am fading in and out. And I know on my last live, some folks said I was fading in and out also. So I'm wondering if it is on my end or if it's on your end. Is it sounding okay to everybody else? Is it just Elizabeth's computer or is it everyone else too? So I'm going to go ahead and just draw some little boxes on here, you know, any sizes, and do, okay, so it sounds good on Susie. So I'm not sure what's happening. I'll try to talk slower. I always have a problem with that, especially when I feel good. When I was feeling sick, I did not talk loud or fast. I did not talk much at all, so it was all a lot slower. I'm just going to do a little bit of sketching, and of course my sketching is darker than it probably needs to be, but just some general shapes, and I'm going to try to do better also and do a variety of sizes instead of just doing basically the same size and direction on the packages. Larger one. Do this one, have it just be a little bit awkward shape. And you can do as many or as few as you want. I mean, we've all seen the different types of stamps that have got lots of presents on there, and those are just so darling. We love it. Off to the side. And since both of those are angled, I'm going to do this one kind of a bit long and behind. That side's pretty much full. Some so those are just the general shapes that I'm going to try to go. Now I want to go with this Pearlescent set. Now each of these watercolor sets I got for like $5, and I'm pretty sure that it's the same now as it was a couple of years ago when I first bought them. And since these are smaller areas than the other, I'm going to use a smaller brush. I don't really know anything about the brushes, but these are square, so I figure one with a flat edge should be okay with that. And I think I'm going to start off with, I want to do this bright yellow. And you can I'm going to show you this. I mean, if you look in that, you can see the hairs where the brushes that I was using last time came off as soon as I tried to use them. So I have got, I had to get another set of brushes. I mean, I don't like spending money on things that I don't actually need, But this was a case that if I'm going to be doing any kind of watercoloring, even if, yes, TR, it was only $5, I'll take a look in a minute on their website and see if they've still got both of these sets for that same price. But yeah, that's how much I paid from that at that point. And these brushes that I just got, this set of 5, it's got this little fine liner for the little detailed things. It's got a real big, wide one for doing washes. It's got a round brush. This would only cost me $10. And it's better than the Artist Loft ones that I had before. So far, I've only used it a couple of times, but it doesn't seem like the bristles are coming out. So, and that's at Michael's. I'm sure that you could get something similar at Joann's as well. I'm just putting some water down in a variety of these little wells. I'm not sure which all I'm going to be using. I do want to start off with that yellow though and put that kind of in the middle. So I got a lot of water in there so that I'll be able to pick it up decently and not have it glop. As I'm doing that, of course, I'm picking up some of those bristles that came off the last time. Let's just do this on this. Oh, yeah, it's going to turn greenish because I'm layering some yellow on top of that pretty blue that we. It's kind of a limeish, kind of a lime green color on mine. Actually, almost matches my board. I'm going to try to be careful and not cover that edge of that other package. I'm going to go over, at some point, go over the lines that I drew on there because I don't really want those to be visible. Probably going to do a couple of different layers of this. Now it is mixed. So I've got broken down the paint that was under that top layer and that looks thicker. There we go. This is starting to look nice. Now what I'm really going to like is when I get to the pinks and the because I am kind of thinking that I wish that those I may do something else that I've seen on one of her other videos, maybe do like try to do a shadow behind the packages because I don't like the way that the pencil mark onto another color. I think I'm going to go with this bright orange. And I had swatched out all of the colors before, so this one that I'm using is going to be this orange. Staying in the lines too much. Get the lines just a sketch to get. That one looks good. Clean my brush. And ooh, I like this pink. This is a bright pink. I'm thinking all of these because I want them to pop on the paper. And that blue is darker than what I used last time when I first tried this. Probably need to go over with a couple of different layers. That is nice. Can you hear me now, guys? Hey, first off, can you hear the music? Because I just turned that back on and I didn't realize that it was off. I must have hit a button that I didn't realize. And it is possible that I'm talking softer and not realizing it. Go on to another color. I think I'm going to go with this dark teal blue. That would need more water in. So just to add water to each of the little panels that I don't even know what they're called. I'm just using my distress sprayer because it's full of water. So I'm using that. So are you, okay, Susie says she can hear me fine. Have you had any problem with it so far, Susie? Because it looks like TR and Elizabeth have had issues hearing me. And you may have noticed that I'm going back and forth across the panel because I'm trying not to do the same area. I want to give the different places time to dry before I start messing around them again. Mostly because I don't want the colors to mix any areas that I don't want to. And to be honest, in this one, I don't really want any. Okay, so I don't know what's going on, but I have stopped talking quite a few different times, so that might be part of it. Miss Elizabeth, I don't really know. I'm gonna go with, don't want the brown. I'm gonna add some water to this brighter green and try that in a bit. Another thing that you can do instead of going straight from the pans is you can mix your colors to get whatever color that you want to. And with these, even though it is a cheap set, it does have on the lid little wells so that you can use those for mixing. So that's kind of cool too. It's not as good as like a professional set, but then again, I've never had a professional set. I think I want to also do this dark blue. I'm starting to think maybe I should have just wet down the whole darn thing because I keep trying to pick colors that I had not I had not picked out the ones that I wanted to do actually. Okay, so this is a different orange than what I've already got down there, so I'm gonna grab it. Thankfully, I am getting enough water in there. That is good. And this one, I think I'm going to do this one that's actually partially covered and just to it. And then once it's had time to dry, then I can get that other box. And you can also see the perfectionist in me because I'm trying my best not to go outside the lines. Really need to get over that. Okay. It's this green that I just mixed up. Just added water to, and this one here. It's one shaped one. If you're like me at all, you're probably thinking, well, that doesn't really look all that good the way that it is. What really made this design look awesome, and be honest, it was the same on both mine and on Christina Warner's watercolor paper. I mean, when she did hers, I was thinking, you know, that looks okay, but it doesn't really look like what I would expect out of her because she is so good. It was all of the details she added after paper was dry. Okay, I'll do one more color and then I'm going to try drying this so I can get those last couple. And I think I want this red. Some more water to it. That one was dry to start. It's this little bitty piece here. I'm going to go ahead and use my heat tool to try to dry these some more. Some of them, the ones that I did to begin with, like the yellow, is partially dry, but not. I don't feel that it's really dry enough for me to get this box here, and that's what I want to get next. Also, all the colors are going to dry back softer than where I put them down, so I'm going to need to probably go back over them at least one more time before I do start putting on any of the finishing touches on. And since you guys know that I always want feedback and I am really new at doing live streams, how are you liking this so far? Oh, what I've got is this container that already has 2 wells in it. I think I got it at Hobby Lobby, but I'm not sure. So I've got clean in this side and filthy in this side. And what's neat is when you're using pearlescent, when you mix it up, you've got all that pearlescent down in the bottom that swirls up and just looks, it looks neat. It kind of makes me want to use it for something, but I can't. Okay, I'm starting to think that purple tape on this specific cutting board is not a good idea because it is not wanting to stay down. It does seem to be protecting the paper, which is good, but it's not wanting to stay down onto the cutting board, which probably means that this cutting board needs. Most of those look like they are pretty dry. The last couple, this orange and that red, are not. But I can also see in some areas where it's not, it doesn't have as much coverage as I would like. Like in this pink, it's got a piece right here, a circle that looks like it's almost washed away. Go back over that. So that one I'm going to let dry a bit more on its own, and go back over those colors. Well, first I'm going to do this box here and that box there, and then I'm going to go back over the other color. Towel. It's pretty. Probably putting too much paint on there, but that one should. So since I haven't asked yet, how was your Thanksgiving? Did you guys stay in? Did you visit family? Did you have family visit you? Did you hide in your craft room like what I've tried to do? Or did you get out and go do something with the rest of the fam? It's nice, pretty purple for this. Oh yeah. So since I've got that blue on there, I don't want to mix it with the yellow, so I'm going to go back over, I think, with the pink. Try to get some color down onto that, layering it on up. This one. This time I think I'm going to try to go just slightly outside the line, try to cover up more of that pencil line, see how that does. Oh, that's nice, Elizabeth. So you guys got to do video chat. That is fun. And TR went in her craft room.— Okay, let me remember my colors. So that's the red. I'm going to go ahead. That one is pretty much dry, so I'm going to go ahead and go back over that one. Inside the got this teal blue that I did down this corner. Now this is not related to crafting, but what I find kind of funny when I'm using these is it reminds me of the 80s and eyeshadow. I mean, my mom wore, I'd say it was about that color of eyeshadow. And the Pearlescent, that was just the thing back in the 80s. It's kind of funny what different things remind us of stuff. Still can't do the yellow because that blue is still pooled there. And do this green. Then I think I'm going to go ahead and just dry this so I can get to those ones that are kind of overlapped with other colors. In-laws are from Ohio and have a place in Texas, so of course if they're able to at Thanksgiving, because it's cold there and it's usually warm here, they definitely always want to come down. And today's really been the first day that it's gotten cold. I think it's in the upper 50s right now, and that's the coldest it's been. It's usually in the 70s and 80s. I could not handle it being somewhere where it's, you know, rainy and snowy and cold. I mean, I jokingly say to people that the reason I moved to Florida is that I moved south for the... I couldn't deal with that, Elizabeth. I really couldn't. I moved south for the warmer weather, and I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. So it's not that... it used to get... Hi, Debbie. Thanks for dropping in, hon. What we're doing here is my take, or whatever, my take on a video that I watched recently from Christina Werner. It was part of her Christmas series. She did a watercolor package card. And while she was doing that one, while I was watching it, I went ahead and did my first one and love how it turned out. So I am doing another one with you guys. So far what I've done is I'm using some cheapo Michael's Artist Loft watercolors. So if you've got better watercolors, you could definitely do a better job than what's going to come out of my craft room today. But I'm using Artist Loft watercolors. I'm using the Fundamentals set for the background. It's one of the blues, and then I'm using the Pearlescent for the packages, and I'm going over these a couple of times. I think I actually went down too hard, too heavy with the pencil, although I did very, very light. I'm thinking I should have used a different pencil. This one was an HB, so it's like a standard number 2 pencil, but I'm thinking that the pencil marks are just too dark, and I don't think they're going to come up. I'm going to try, once I get done with everything and everything is nice and dry, I'm going to try to get them to lift up with an eraser, but I'm not a watercolor expert. I am learning and letting you guys see all of my mistakes and successes and failures and all that kind of good stuff as I learn and as I practice. And that being said, we will find out whether or not a standard regular rubber eraser will erase some of those pencil marks through the watercolor. Don't have a clue as to whether or not it will work. I think I've seen someone try something like that, but I'm not sure. Mostly because I think when I watch folks like Sandy Alnock and Christina Werner and such, when they're doing their awesomeness, I don't think that they put their marks down quite as heavy as have a problem or not with that. That's actually a good idea. I'm thinking about trying to do a little bit of a little bit of shading and shadow around it, but I'm not good with watercolor yet, so I have no idea if that's going to work or not. So I've got the yellow down. I'm going to go back and do this orange again and get a little bit darker on it. This time, actually, this watercolor I'm using right now, that pan is not quite as wet as the others. A little bit more water in there. Looks like I'm getting more pigment down, which is nice for what I'm wanting to do right now. I do have to say that this new set of brushes that I just got is much better than cheapo Artist Loft set that I had. I think that set was probably like a 20, probably 10 or 20 different brushes for $5 or something. So it was a real cheap set. I was real surprised though that the bristles came out all the time. And when that's all that you've ever worked with, you think that that's the norm. You get something that's better, or you see somebody online using something that works better. A little bit of a surprise. And, okay, I can't deal with what I got anymore. Okay. So I'm going to say that that is pretty much done. I'm going to go ahead and dry those. And then go to the next step. Although I'm one of those people that whenever I do one card, I want to do more than one at the same time. So I kind of want to. Yeah, I really need to get a new mechanical pencil. I mean, I've got some that are at least 20 years old that don't really work, so I don't use them. And the pencil that I drew this down with was, again, from Michaels. Was part of a set of Artist Loft pencils, and I think it just put too much graphite down for what I needed. Then again, I also tend to have a heavy hand for pretty much everything that I do, which in another life I was a massage therapist, so that was a good thing, having as heavy a hand as I was one of those people. It wasn't where it hurt, but it was where it was solid, and it worked real. And that's probably one reason why my husband married me. But it tended to be pretty good for what I needed to do with that career too. But when you're trying to color something in a light, very lightly, or do sketching, I'm not good at sketching. I think you're right, Elizabeth. And it would have that little bit of sparkle and pearlescence in it because of this. I mean, to me it looked kind of like what I recently made some sprays, some shimmer sprays using Perfect Pearls, and when I did my watercoloring the last time, because I used nothing but the pearlescence, that's what that water kind of looked like. It's like, oh, okay, that's kind of interesting. But I don't think I would want brown pearlescent paper. So I haven't decided yet as to whether or not, I think you're right though. I need to try that and see if it works. That I'm gonna count that done. Let's pull back. Okay, it definitely protected the paper pretty well. I mean, that line is real nice. I like that. See how this one did, because I did paint over it quite a bit. A little bit under, but that is over. Did pull up a little bit of the there, but that's okay because I always wind up cutting it down. quite a bit. Okay, get this stuff out of the way. And something else that I have trouble with, that I would love to hear you guys' thoughts on, because I know that you use it, is I have trouble with the Jelly Roll pens. Now this is the 10, which is the easiest one so far for me to be able to use. I've got a set of 3 different sizes. This one's the thickest, so this one is the one that actually works for me better. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make these guys into little packages, which means I need to draw on the packages, on the squares, with this pen. But even when I write on dark cardstock or anything, for some reason it just doesn't seem to want to come out of the pen, so I don't know what I'm doing wrong. So I'm going to try to think on that a little bit. And before I go and do that part, I think I'm going to attempt to do that shading I was telling you about. Let me get one of my gray markers. This one is just a Spectrum Noir, the BGR1, so it's going to be a real light one, and I'm going to try to just add a little bit of shadows beneath, you know, under the, around the presents to make them look a little bit more dimensional. I don't want to touch it. This looks pretty the way. I'm not really a mixed media person, so honest, it's not working over the pearlescent at all. Might work with a slightly darker one. Instead of being in the middle, I try it over here at the edge because I'll probably cut this edge off. Goes over fine over. I don't know if you can see that. Marker goes down fine over that, but it doesn't seem to want to go well over the pearlescent part. It's got a little bit on there, but it's kind of like it's blending it a little bit on the edge. That might look still, might still look cool. Yeah, there I just drew on the pearlescent and you can barely see it. Okay, Karen. Yeah, I've tried that too. Actually, I just addressed a bunch of envelopes today, and in between each envelope, and I'm in Florida, so it stays pretty warm here. In between each envelope, I had to scribble it off or start drawing something else, and it seemed to help some, but not really. I don't really like that. I'm not gonna do this. There's a way. Always trial and error, right guys? So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna go ahead and start trying to draw some little ribbons on there. Hopefully, since I have been using this today, hopefully it will work a little bit better. Yeah. Maybe it is a clog. To try that real quick. It's coming. A little bit more. Another thing I noticed with this specific, bye Karen, you have a good night, and bye Debbie, you guys have a good night. What I did notice on with using this on that last card is it seemed like it, I don't know if it was dug into the pearlescent Maybe it's because I'm drawing on Pearlescent. That could be it too. It seemed like it dug into it, and sometimes it just added a little bit of a lighter color, like it turned, like this purple would be turning a lighter purple. Now I'm just trying to dab on that color to try to work on there. And what I'm doing is I'm just trying to draw the little ribbons. And I loved how Christina Werner did it, and it looked so easy and seamless. And she was using a Sakura Jelly Roll 10, I believe. This one's starting to have the ink. It's good. That one. It's like a present. And we do the same thing on all of them, and you can decorate up the papers any which way you want to. Stripes, polka dots. I even put Christmas trees on the one last time. This one kind of like candy canes, if I can get enough white to come. Straight red and white, kind of a reddish. Gonna have the ribbon, the sides. You do across the corners on. I'm probably gonna go back over. This doesn't. That side's not. Sometimes I just had a bad pen. I can kind of see that. This one. Yeah, you are absolutely right. She does. But even just attempting some of her techniques, it really shows you that you can do it too. You know, I've been doing the card making thing since 2017. I mean, Kim and I did do a little bit of crafting in previous years, but that was, you know, you had kids, or it was before kids, and it was something you could do for yourself, because once you have kids, everything's about them. But I mean, I remember some of my first Christmas cards that I ever did back in the 90s. Oh, it's finally flowing. Ah, yay. But it was back in the 90s, and it's where I ran out of store-bought Christmas cards, and I had a color printer and printed out. It was one of those where they gave you, I think, a Kodak design or something, and some kind of a card maker software. And I just printed out a bunch of them on plain paper and sent them out. But it's still, you know, it was handmade, but... And the reason I got started with it at this point in my life was just that a couple of years ago, but actually January 2017, I decided I really needed to try to get more organized with my time, and, you know, so I could get more of the things done that I wanted to do, because you always want to do all the things. Yes, she did go to art school. She is a designer. That's probably one reason why she does graphics design. Great hand lettering, and creates a ton of this the stamp designs and such, and I love her stuff. And I feel like I'm getting old and don't really have the time, inclination to go back to school or pay the money to go back to school. YouTube is my school. So I've got 3 packages with ribbons on them, and they're looking okay. But I basically got started back with any kind of crafting because I got a planner, and I got a wire bound thing that I picked up at Staples and decided I didn't really like it. So what did I do? I wound up going over and I found at Michael's, I found one of the Recollections 6-ring binders. So I went ahead and got one of those and didn't really like the pages that were in it, so I did pages that I liked. And then I wound up discovering all of these cool things because I'm wanting to find more ideas and where to get stuff for my planner. I discovered all this stuff online, and during that I discovered, yes, YouTube is our art school. I discovered planner stamps. And somewhere along the lines of discovering stamping in general, I discovered Jennifer McGuire. And I basically was hooked because I have seen so many things over the years where I thought, you know, I could make that, and then I never did. I mean, you go to a craft show and you see things that you like and you think, yeah, I could do that, but you know, I'm not going to spend, you know, $50 on this thing that I can make, but then you don't go back and make it yourself either. This one, I think I'm going to put some polka dots on, and OCD in me says that they should be spaced about the same distance apart, so I'm going across and then down again. I don't know if you can, there, now you can see that. And drawing a bigger circle definitely helps with getting some of this ink on this pen to come out. It's like those little lines, it just doesn't want to, little lines don't want to come out and show up, so now I'm having to go back over them to get them to go. Anyway, yeah, it's Jennifer McGuire's fault that I'm here. And the reason I got a YouTube channel to begin with was a friend of mine at work. I made her a one of those shaker jars, you know, the and I don't even remember what they're called anymore. And she said, "Oh my God, that's so cool! You should do a tutorial on that." And of course, I've never done a tutorial on anything like that. And I probably have to look it up to see how to make that thing. But instead, what's happened is I got to meet all of you guys. So I got polka dots on that one. Fun. I think I'm going to do stripes if I can get the stripes to work. Go, that's... So I'd love to know, how did each of you guys get started with crafting? I mean, we're all hooked. But how did you get started? This one, I think I'm going to just do some little early thing. Ribbon is... Try to get the pen to write again. Straight line. It just does not like straight line. Instead of just being... You gave up Call of Duty for crafting? That is too funny. So TR's excuse is her friends made her do it. And Susie, I'd say that you just gave, I would say the internet made you do it, but it kind of went the other way. It's like Call of Duty, online gaming, you changed your mind and decided to go to a different direction. Okay, so now I've got a bunch of packages instead of colored blobs. So that looks kind of cool. I think I need a little more texture on a couple of these, so I'm going to go back and do little dots on, if I can get it to work, little dots on this blue one. Just random, although my randomness turns to some kind of a structure that is a little bit off. Probably why I don't do snow scenes. Such like, I have trouble making things rain. That looks kind of cute. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, my mom used to do crochet, so we did Afghans. She taught me how to do that, but that was, you know, a lifetime ago. This last one, I still like the stripes. I'm going to go ahead and add stripes to this one. And is trying to actually work for me. So they are kind of sketchy lines. So that looks pretty cool. So then all that's left on here would be to cut it down and keep the parts you like the best. Meaning I would probably, when I cut it down, this side is my least favorite. It's also not as full. I probably should have put a couple more packages in. So most likely this side is the one that I'm going to be using on the card, and then just add a sentiment. So I think that is turning out pretty cute. We have been on here for an hour, guys. So do you want me to go ahead, and go ahead and cut this down with you guys here and start putting together on a card, or do you want to just take off at this point and go ahead and have dinner or whatever? You picked a more expensive hobby. Yes, Karen, me and you, we're the same. Card matching, card making definitely came while watching YouTube for planner ideas. I was looking for ideas as to how to create different planner inserts, which I have done, and they do have some of those over on my blog and my shop, but I haven't actually done any in quite a while. Did have my husband go ahead and pick me up some better paper. But I did have him go ahead and pick up some better paper for me to be able to print those again this year, since we are getting to the end of the year. So I'll probably make something new and put that over there for you guys if you're interested. So, okay, I'll go ahead and get out my go-to guillotine trimmer. This is the Fiskars 9-inch bypass trimmer. The panel I've got is 4.5 by almost 6. I think I'm going to start off with just cutting to those lines where the edge of the end of the painting was, and see how big of a panel we've got there. Cutting off the excess. And that brings us down to a little more than 3.25 by 5. So I think I'm going to have it down to go ahead and do half by 4 3/4. So I cut off the part that has the least, has the most white space, basically, or blue space in this case. So I need a bit more. Left a little bit of two. Now cutting it to 3.5. So it does look quite a bit smaller. I think I have a card base around somewhere. Give me just a second while I find a card base. Okay, so I just grabbed a piece of heavyweight cardstock from Michael's and cut that in half at 5.5, and then that gives me 2 card bases. I use this one because it's the 100-pound, it's the 110-pound 300 GSM. It's much better card bases than the regular grade cardstock that you can get at Michael's. So as normal, I'm going to go ahead and score that at 4 1/4. Flip it over so that the scored part is on the outside. Line that up in my E-Cake Success Score Buddy. And go ahead and burnish that down. It looks better that way. Here's a lot of the scraps that I've been using. I have whittled it down quite a bit. I got a ton of tags done. I got a lot of cards done this weekend. Let's see what I've got in here that would work for a sentiment. Size and color, but don't. This one says piece. That could work. Those seems too matte. These are too big. It's too bright. Unless I do. No, I was thinking maybe if I did a red background, a red matte, that might work. Covers up too much of that. Let's see what else I've got. This one might work. Got a couple of these that are still that are foiled sentiments saying seasons. So what do you guys think? My thought is that the green is almost too limey. This. I always folded with the score towards the outside. Reason being, the reason that you do that is that when you score it, you're breaking down the fibers in the paper. If you fold it the opposite way, the score does help you fold it regardless, but if you fold it the opposite way with the score on the middle, you're basically trying to stretch those that are on the outside, and it can crack. Okay, so this one is too light. That's what I was thinking. Holly Jolly is kind of cool, but somebody said that they liked the Joy. Ooh. Now that I think about it, then I decide which change my mind which direction. Could have the Joy to the side like that. That I think I like. Put all of these sentiments back up. So this is probably one of the first times that I have actually created little bins of all of my scraps and left it on my desk, which is driving me crazy because it's too much stuff on my desk, but it is helping me to actually use it. So I am going to go ahead and use some foam tape, pop up the panel on that card. One reason is before I do that, I think I want to do some splatter. Got a couple of little pieces, like this little piece of green that did splatter on there, but I think I want some of my shimmer sprays and splatter on here first. That would be pretty. So this is this is a box where I got inks from Catherine Pooler. Perfect size for using as a little splatter box, and it fits great under my desk. And then these are my little DIY shimmer sprays, and yes, it still has some in there. This one is mostly used up. That's the Perfect Pearl. But the one I like the best is the gold, and it's mostly used up. Also have some other colors. I basically went through all of my Perfect Pearls to take a look and see what I thought would work. And used up all the bottles that I had. So I've got a purple, I've got green, I've got blue. All of which are colors that are on this, except for the gold. But I think the gold is the one I like the best. So, what I've been doing to, I've been experimenting, because this is something I'm a little new at, is I'm just trying to flick it straight out of the bottle. Now those paints that Christina uses would be much better at this, but this at least gives me a chance to practice, right guys? Just spray it with some of the regular Perfect Pearl. And leave it at that. Really didn't put much splatter down. Some of shake up the green. So the way that I made the shimmer sprays here is just Perfect Pearls. I've got one of those Perfect Pearl sets that I haven't used. And these are just, some of these are mini misters from Ranger, and the other ones are from Recollections. And I've had these at least a couple of years and never used them. I think that's probably one of my themes, is I've got all this stuff that I never used. Anyway, I put a little bit of the Perfect Pearls in, probably a couple little spoons, little tiny spoons. I put some of the Perfect Pearls in and then just put water in. And I think when it comes time for me to refill this guy, because it's like half gone, and I've only been doing this a couple of weeks, when it comes time for me to refill that one, I'll go ahead and show you guys how I do it. You know, go ahead and do that on camera so you can see. Not hard, and I love the way that it's been looking. I've been playing with splatter a lot more lately. I think I want to put some of the red in, because this really doesn't have any red, not much. It's got a little bit of orange, but not much. I'd add a little splatter. This would actually be cool as a birthday card too. You got a bunch of presents there and you do splatter in different colors, it would look kind of like confetti. I think that's kind of cool. I think this one I may have put more of the pearls than in the others, because this one I can see those splatters a little darker. It must be a little bit of a control freak. I'm having trouble because I think that is probably that. And we're doing that. And you can always pat it down with a paper towel and dry it that way, but that does remove some of that color. Really just depends. Some of the others have kind of a muted look, which is great. Kind of, I don't know, bouquet. And then these darker ones that I just put down are going to be a little bit more bold. Although they are drying back pretty light, I still think it looks kind of like confetti. That's kind of cool. There's only a couple more spots on there. I'll go ahead and put those up with a towel. Now I'll put some foam tape on the back. One of the reasons that you use foam tape with watercolor is because watercolor paper tends to warp, at least somewhat, and this is going to hold it down really well. I don't think I'd have time to do anything else if I did a series on just what I haven't used in a while. But that is a good idea. I've had my channel up since 2017. The first couple of videos, they're still out there, by the way. First couple of videos that I did was on making a traveler's notebook. I have not done a Meet the Creator thing yet. I know that one of the groups that we're in had that, and I didn't have my, didn't have my set up yet for doing live stream. And by the time that signing up for it was over, so I didn't sign up for that one. I did have the camera and the internet fixed by the time she did that one. I think that wasn't that Courtney that did that? I think it was. Or it may have been on, I'm not positive which of the groups. I'm in too many groups sometimes, I think. But I love you guys and I want to hang out with you as much as I can, you know? So I think I'm going to do it where these packages are visible on these, especially the ones with the bows are more visible. And then I'm going to put this joy here on the side. I'm going to cover up some of the ones that have design but don't have the bows. And one of someone on one of my recent videos suggested when it comes to putting down your panel with the foam tape, especially since I have such an issue with the foam tape, I can't seem to get my panels on there. They recommended leaving the release paper on the ones in the middle, but when you're doing something in watercolor, it's better to take advantage of that adhesive, not just the foam popping up, the dimension, but take advantage of that adhesive because you want to keep it from warping as much as you can. So I'm going to go ahead and release that on all of these. I can grab it. Then because I don't want to fight with putting it on and taking it back off because it's not straight, I'm going to also put some liquid glue down. Go ahead and use my art glitter glue as normal. Let's put that on the adhesive too. It is going to still, art glitter glue does glue strong, but it will give me that little bit of wiggle room to be able to reposition this and inevitably put it down wrong. So I decided I wanted that to the top. What? So I think you're right. I think it may have been Courtney. Okay, got that, and then go ahead and put this guy down here. Since I've already got the art glitter glue out, and then I'm going to take out some of my little gems that I've got from Hobby Lobby. You guys have probably seen that Go box cut. Had this for over a year. It was like I think I got it with a 40% discount coupon, but the regular price was $14. But this thing is huge, and I barely put a dent into it or gems on. I think I'm going to just add a few gems here and there to add to that little confetti look. Jewel picker. One of the neat things with this this box of rhinestones is that it's got different sizes. Really like these teeny tiny ones. But it looks kind of neat to have more than one size on your project. I think that needs more than that. Putting it in multiples of 3. May put another one on because now it's going to be 6 and it's not an odd number. Even number. Odd numbers look better than even. Let's see what it looks like. Or at least that one. Tilt that in so you can see. Yeah, thanks, Wayfaring Panda. I saw that and I didn't have my camera and everything set up yet to be able to try to do any stream, so I try to see if I could get in on it. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again at another point, or I could just do a live stream where you guys just ask me stuff. I'd be happy to share with you guys. Oh, you want me to send you some of my gems? Okay, I see how you are. Well, thank you guys. That is going to finish it up for this card for today. I really appreciate you coming and hanging out with me, and I think this turned out really pretty. I am planning, as usual, on doing a new live stream every week on Tuesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern time, just like today. If you think I should do it later, because I know there were quite a few people that popped in later, but there were also some folks that popped out early. If you have an idea as a better time that may work better for a lot of you, let me know and I will definitely consider things. Also, you know, I'm also doing 1 or 2 additional videos every week. Right now it is 2 additional. We have this next Saturday, there is the design team projects for tailor-made cards for you are going out on Saturday morning, and I absolutely love the card that I made. I wound up, after the fact, making about 10 more after I made the one for the for the video. So be sure to check out that one, and I will have another video up in the next couple of days. Anyway, thank you guys for dropping in. Be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so, and hit the notification bell so you'll get notified next time I upload. And I'd love to see what you create, so make this, make a card like this, and then come show it to us over on my Facebook group, Crafting with Debbie, and I'll be sure to add that into the description box on this video. Thanks for watching, guys. You guys have a wonderful day, and remember, if I can make it, you can too.